Jake, could you tell us what qualities make a great boxer, a world champion?
The few things. You gotta be determination. You gotta have willpower. You gotta have positive thinking. You gotta believe. I don't mean believe that you can do it.
The Bronx, as we know it right now, I would call it a melting pot of the entire country, really. We have people here from every walk of life, from every ethnic group, every religious organization. It's just a nice place to live, to get to know everybody. I moved to Morris Park about 38 years ago from Arthur Avenue. Morris Park is a special place. When I first moved in, it was predominantly Italian. I would say probably 95% Italian. Everything had an Italian flavor. All the restaurants, all the pizza places, and everything was with an Italian flavor. You would hear the Italian language spoken up and down the avenue. I like the feel of neighborhood. I like to be able to come into a neighborhood, walk down the street and say hello to the barber and say hello to the butcher, and that's where I want to live. I want to live in a place where people care about their community and where they live. Morris Park Columbus Day Parade is probably the second largest parade in the state. At St. Clair's, we have a procession for the Feast of St. Severio and the Feast of St. Anthony. They carry a statue of St. Severio, and the parishioners follow the priest and the statue around the block as they pray. It's a nice night. It brings the Italian community together. Morris Park Association was founded over 40 years ago. The reason for its foundation was the fact that one of the members was still active. His mom was mugged, and he decided to do something with the neighborhood patrol. So he put together a group of men from the community, and they went out at evenings and patrolled the community. If you were walking the streets and not knowing where you were going, a car would pull you over and say, "Where are you going? Could I drive you to the house?" The Morris Park Association, at one time, people feared the association. The kids did mostly, because what would happen is if you were doing something wrong, we would go pick you up in the car, bring you home. We used to get calls in the evening to go over, and the kids are in Loretta Park late at night, and we're still getting the same calls. There's a problem in Loretta Park, there's a problem in Loretta Park. The problem with that is the children have no place to hang out. And people saw the association as if there was a problem, we could handle it. We've had problems with people in a building. Tenants came in here. The place was packed. And the landlord came in here and we had a discussion. And it was solved. I was brought up in the South Bronx, great neighborhood. Things started to change. People started to leave. It bothers me when people say they're from the Bronx. Everybody wants to brag about they're from the Bronx. If you want to be from the Bronx, be from the Bronx. Stay here, live here, fight for your community. All these movies that went on about depicting the Bronx as basically a sewer, a place of crime and degradation. Fort Apache. The Bronx is burning.
In the South Bronx, services are beginning to collapse.
That's not the way it was. There were certain areas, absolutely. But there were other areas that were very middle class, upper middle class areas where people did the right thing. And little by little, some of those areas started to be taken back.
Families that have been on welfare for 3 generations. Youth gangs, winos, junkies, pimps, hookers, maniacs, cop killers.
You finished?
Yeah, I'm finished. I'm going to Florida, Conley. I'm going fishing, so you can bring up your computers and your slide rules and all your psychological techniques. This neighborhood will bury you. There's enough dirt in this precinct to bury every smart-ass cop in the city.
Ever since I was little. The first time I was ever in a police station, I had to be around 7. My aunt was a detective on this job. She took me to take your daughter to work day, and I fell in love. I fell in love with her coworkers, the people that were coming into the workplace, and just the whole atmosphere.
So my family and I are from Sicily, Italy, and we migrated over to the United States in the early 80s. I grew up on Morris Park, actually. I first lived on Victor Street and Morris Park Avenue with my family. My family then moved a little bit up to Bogart and Morris Park. I attended the local school here. PS 83, and I'm very local.
But one of the things I remember clearly was she put us in the cells. I remember climbing it. I don't know why that triggered something in me, but ever since I was in the cells, I knew that I wanted to be a police officer.
And now as a neighborhood coordination officer, I'm fortunate enough to patrol the area that I grew up in and know very well. Since this neighborhood policing came to the 409 precinct, it's given us the opportunity to work a little bit more with the community.
Build blocks and build bridges, a personal contact. If anything goes wrong, any of their issues, they could call our cell phone directly. They don't have to be afraid of, who they're giving this information to.
One of our first tasks was to go out and meet all of the local businesses, introduce ourselves.
If I was to pick two officers to be partners, that would be my choice. They're a great combination. Janine sort of keeps Danny's feet on the ground every once in a while. Danny wants to be all things to all people.
One of the great things about this program is getting to know not just the community members, but the issues at hand and the locations that are going to be a problem ongoing.
Personnel there, have they decided to increase
They
the
spoke
number?
about that. As far as we were understanding though, we get to know the neighborhood completely better. I know people on a first name basis. They know me on a first name basis. They'll call me on my cell phone. They always want to know what they could do for us as well as what we can do for them.
When Danny and Janine come into our senior center, Danny is looked at as the grandson, and they all want to talk to him because he speaks Italian, so they want to talk to him in Italian. Janine, they nod to and they smile at. He's our Italian son.
That is true. That's another reason I'm fortunate enough to know quite a few people in the area that I serve.
N35. 35.
I think the fact that they're from the community or from the surrounding communities, that they have a feel for the Bronx, they know what to expect. They know what the flavor of the community is.
I don't find neighborhood coordination officer as social work. We're here to fight crime. We're here to solve problems, whether it's a small problem or a big problem.
We work with the squad very often. Every day when we come in, that's one of the first things we do. We sit down, we go through a list of the complaints that we received, and once we see what complaints we took, we then go and confer with the squad detectives, depending on who has the case, and we pretty much assist them on all of their cases.
And we get to focus on the issues, and we really get to learn the patterns and the people of interest that, might give us a little run for our money.
Police work is not easy. It's you're not a fireman where you go in and put out fires and save people. When people see the police, most times it's not for something good. It's getting bad news, it's being arrested, or it's being questioned. They don't want to deal with police because it's not a good thing. In this case, they do want to deal with the police because they can talk to Danny and Janine, and when they see them down the street, they can say hello. They'll stop into a store owners see them, they feel comfortable. They feel that they have a friend in the police department. With this program, it gives them an opportunity to go out and see the people and put a human touch on the badge.
Working with my partner has been a great experience.
I told him if he has a problem with them tomorrow when he goes to give us a call. We'll go over there. We'll try to mediate. It's right up there.
We were selected. We decided that we'll work together, and I believe that our partnership has gotten stronger, and it's positive for everyone that we interact with.
My mother was a teacher, and I was going to join the service. My friends were going into the service or become a police officer. And one of the teachers in the school was sick, and they asked me if I would come in and substitute for 2 months. So I went in and I substituted for the 2 months. And while I was there, I just got so captivated by working with the young people, and I saw such a need that they had. I was in the schoolyard with the children from the school, and some of the local kids had come over and, hey, mister. I said, could you do us a favor? I said, what do you need? Could you coach a basketball team? I had never played basketball, never touched only in the schoolyard, but I was never very good at basketball. So I said, sure. I said, you got the team together? Yeah, we got a bunch of guys that want to play. I was able to get the gym at PS 78. They let me use their gym. That started my basketball coaching career. And we went to the state championship, which we lost on a terrible call that, that I was really upset about. I was yelling and at the referees, and I'm screaming at the bus, and they're holding me back. Mr. D'Angelo, take it easy, it's okay. I'm saying, how can you say it's okay? How does, you saw what happened. It gave me a taste of racism because the team was predominantly black, and I saw what happened, and the calls were just going against us, and I had never felt that before. And I was so angry.
I'm originally from Yemen. We lived in central Yemen, the city of Ib, in a small village. In the village, everyone was a farmer. It's mostly corn, limited other stuff, but mostly corn. Every single person was a farmer, from the 5-year-old to the 100-year-old. During my early years in the village, there was also a civil war where I stayed home for weeks at a time because of the civil war. We had sandbags on the windows. We didn't see sunlight for days at a time. My father was in America during the time of the Civil War, and communication was not that good at the time. We didn't have any telephones in the village, so we would have to go into the city to communicate. And it was about a 4-hour drive on rugged roads to get to the city to make one phone call. It was a very dangerous situation for a child to live in.
Yahya is a great young guy.
I've lived in the Bronx for about 2.5 years. I met Al about 2 years ago when I started attending the Morris Park Association meetings.
One Wednesday night, Yahya had come in and sat in through a meeting.
I introduced myself to him. I became a member of the Morris Park Association. Morris Park is very unique. It's quiet, it's a residential neighborhood, but at the same time you've got everything around you, from shops to the schools to the mosques. The mosque is very mixed. I would say the majority of the congregants are from Yemen. There are congregants from Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, Libya. The imam is from Algeria. We also have a large African community, as well as an Albanian community, and Bengali, Southeast Asian.
We have a large Muslim population that has moved into the community, and there was a lot of apprehension. We fear what we don't know. So I spoke to Yahya and I said, Yahya,
we don't know much about your culture or your religion. So if you can tell us about it, that'll be great.
He answered every question we had honestly and straightforward. And he asked us some, and and from that time on, I think they brought our communities closer. They found out they just like we are, just different religion, but the different cultures, but they want the same thing for their children. They want a good education, they want safety, and that's what they moved into this neighborhood for.
I met Yahya in the beginning of the NCO program. He's on a lot of the community boards. He's at every monthly meeting that we attend. He's a very big part of this community.
We continue to get.
I joined Community Board 11 about 2 years ago. So for about 2 years I've been active in the community, whether it's the community board as a whole or the mosque.
He's on numerous boards, and he's a wealth of knowledge. We reach out to each other if we need anything, and obviously he knows that we're there for him if he ever needed anything.
The Yemeni American Merchants Association reached out to me to ask if I can bring the NYPD a special guest. The majority of Yemeni American merchants are either grocery stores, what we call bodegas, or cell phone stores, but they vary. And the best people to come and speak would be the neighborhood coordinating officers. They're perfect for it. They came, they briefed the community. A lot of the merchants don't know about the neighborhood police, and it was their first time hearing about it, so they had a lot of questions. Usually when police shows up at the store, it's because there's a problem. And to have the option to call the NYPD, the neighborhood policing, it's a great option. I joined the NYPD auxiliary program right before the NCO neighborhood policing started. I feel like it's part of community service.
Is this good? You're going to St. Clair's to do a procession?
I'm the chairman of the Public Safety Committee. So being on the Public Safety Committee, in order to address the community, I have to know a little bit of the police.
Most recently, we had an issue at the mosque, and he reached out and let us know that one of the workers was walking home one night after prayer at around 11:30 p.m. when he was approached by 3 males cursing at him, and they started to throw rocks at him. So my partner and I decided to change our hours so we could be there during prayers and when everyone's leaving to make sure everyone's safe.
The welcome that we get at the mosque is like no other. It's a very warm welcome. They're grateful that we're there, and it just makes us feel appreciated.
We see them every single night. They're at the mosque. The congregants love them. They come out after the prayers and they see the neighborhood coordinator officers, and they're like heroes to them.
So we have a Muslim who is helping with the police department protect a Catholic service, and then we have Danny and Janine, who are Catholic protecting a Muslim service at the mosque. Diversity is not bad. It's not a bad thing. Once you get to know the people that you're living with and get to know their culture and their background, in most cases, they're just like we are. Everybody's the same.
I think that everyone's seeing that we have a common goal, and that's making the streets a little safer together, coming together, working together, and fighting crime together. And that's what the neighborhood policing is all about.